I'm going to make a segue now. So, you do make quite a lot of posts on freeing Hindu temples, and I've also, it's something that I'm very keen on. I've written quite extensively on what I call the secular loot of Hindu temples. At least there's a four part there are four parts to the articles that I've. I mean, these are not articles. This is not my opinion. I've actually compiled across four longish kind of blog posts of actual loot, reported loot that have gone to courts, that have where people have been arrested, nothing has come of it, or temple gold being stolen, or money being routed to things that are outside of the sacred space, and all of those things. So, and I'm already well into my part 5 of it, which means that it's consistently going on, and it's been something. So I just wanted to touch upon that, and I think many of your posts have also talked about how not freeing temples having temples being controlled by secular governments has meant that many of the things that the temple ecosystem allowed, which is the temple being a living ecosystem, like for example dancers in your case being able to freely perform there, express, have the freedom of expressing their art, that has severely become restricted in that sense. So I just wanted to, because I've seen quite a few posts of yours that speak of it, and therefore, and how you've had to do it, in the Mare Mugama, you wanted to do it and kind of a thing. So
we have to like sneak and quickly finish it off and run before the authorities.
So just wanted you to speak about that. So.
Yeah, I'm going to be very idealistic in this, but I really believe that music and dance should be a constant feature in temples. There is absolutely no two ways about it. Temples, especially the bigger ones, the alive ones, which has a certain specific energy and which has a tradition of dance, they must begin to have regular dance and music in their temples. That is only way where the local dancers and musicians will have a sense of belonging. Otherwise, there is no way they'll get to Chennai Music Academy, right? And it is also a way of, personally for me, every time I have danced in the temple, whether I have sneaked or, I have danced, it has been a tremendous experience that has, that I don't even have a word for it. There is something there when you dance and when you sing in temples. And I don't want to be able to put it in words, because then it will really bring down the value of what those experiences are. Anybody who does that will have that experience for sure, because of the energy that resides in its space. When I talk about freeing Hindu temples, this is what I mean, that please bring back and don't make it difficult for dancers and musicians to come. Music is still okay, you can sing, they are okay with music, but they are not okay with dance at all. I remember last year we were in Tanjavur when we sneaked on this performance, and I was speaking to one of the Oduvars there, and we were talking about this free Hindu temples. He also had a very valid point. Freeing Hindu temples is one. What is going to happen after that freeing of Hindu temples? The person who is going to come later, how much of, how knowledgeable is that person going to be? How much of investment he's going to have in the concept of temples, its history, what it is going to do to the ecosystem within the temples. And his fears were quite valid. He said, today the government, as a Oduvar, is giving me X amount of money that comes to my bank every day. But if somebody else takes it, I am afraid. I don't know what is going to happen to me. So I think at the ground level, one does also have to think very clearly, if our temples are freed, what will be the points of action and what are we going to do? I think that clarity is required at that higher level. Dance, especially in temples, are in such a sad state. I mean, it's very sad that a dancer has to go to temples, sneak. And the same Oduvar said, don't dance here because it will be looked commercial and they will get very upset. I'm like, what commercial? I mean,
who is this
Tanjavur, the authorities, the temple authorities, the governing authorities, I think they look at it commercially, so you can't. It happens in Chidambaram too. They will not allow you to dance. So you have the Chidambaram, you see the deity here, and then you have the Govindaraja here.
But
you
the
have the
Sabapati
big
himself
Kamalam.
is,
You can't actually dance there. So they'll say, Anga poi adunga. And then if you go there, they'll say, Ningale paadi, Ningale adunga. If we put that mobile and we have our thing, that is commercial, off pannidanga. Ningale paadinte, ningale adunga. Illana ponga, he will say. I mean, I'm just saying, just give me 2 minutes. I've come to Chidambaram. I just want to dance for him, right? And he'll say, if you start, so many people will start. But isn't that what Chidambaram about? If you have 100 people coming and dancing, that's what it is, right? So that's a pain point, Ramesh. I mean, freeing Hindu temples, I think, is a very broad cause. But I hope, I mean, on the higher level, the people who are actually involved in it, I do hope that they take into consideration, because I don't think it's that easy. I mean, at the running of the temple, if you're thinking about bringing art back, how do the micro aspects of it, I hope they will think of. And if we get there, I hope it will be, it will be a renaissance of sort. It would be lovely to have temples alive with Veda Goshti and music and dance and the upacharas, and to be able to keep it alive in very many ways. That would be beautiful. And when I write my posts, I talk about my personal experiences, because one, it is to record saying that this is possible. You ask me, right? Is that conduit possible? It is possible. I have experienced it. I might not be able to articulate it to that great effect, but it happens. And if one feels that way, then one must be given the opportunity to do it. So, which is just a small effort to record those thoughts on our temples. It should be alive. It should dance, music. They should happen regularly at temples, but it does not. It's very sad. If it does, then so many local artists get so much of opportunities, right? I mean, it can open up so many other channels for the artists to express themselves, find recognition, impart, build better rasikas, help people, spend their time more usefully than wasting with it.
Okay. Now, the second, absolutely, the second point is correct. We need to, I mean, the temples have been living ecosystems. They no longer are, and therefore, I mean, they are still living in one sense, but to make it the truly living ecosystems that they were, we need to bring on. And to answer your first question, in my limited understanding, I think those who are working towards freeing Hindu temples, including I think the Indic Academy, the Indic Collective, I think, and it's a question that I'm going to ask Ashish tomorrow when he's So that's so when he comes on board, I'm going to ask that question. I think, and I think Jay Sai Deepak also answered this in a way when he said, if we are working towards freeing the temples, do you think we're not thinking of how we need to structure the handling of it later? It's not like we're saying that the government would have, so that's the whole idea. I think that there is a structure. I'm not fully in the know in order to comment what is that framework that is being worked out, but clearly I think because even if we go to courts to get this done, I think even the courts would ask that such a framework be presented to them. And I think that is already being put together. Even T.R. Ramesh, for example, who's leading the movement across Tamil Nadu in terms of documenting as well as, freeing Hindu, documenting the atrocities that happen, and also, freeing the Hindu temples has also clearly said there is a framework that will involve all the stakeholders who are right now. There is only one stakeholder,
Yeah.
in a sense, and therefore all stakeholders would become part of the temple ecosystem. I think that is something that's already being worked on.
Yeah, I'm
And
sure. I mean, I know this is a huge movement, and it has, it has several, accomplished people heading it. I was just
yeah,
sharing that conversation with the Oduver to just say that,
right.
there is
Yeah,
so much at the very ground level, and their fear is also because he shared it with me. I was just,
absolutely. No, I'm fine. I think no,
sorry.
I'm acknowledging that it's a valid point. All I'm saying is I think that the plans are include that kind of an integration where it also
Wonderful.
puts forward a plan. In the same context, in part one of my article, I also mentioned how, in part one of my secular loot of Hindu temples, I had also documented how very strangely the uh, the the pujari, the archaka of the temple at Chidambaram itself gets a pay that is lower than the security guard. I mean that itself should tell us how much the current controllers of the temples think of the temple ecosystem.
No,
So
I
it isn't.
agree. One of the, I mean, I'm just trying to see how to correlate it to art because that's a very relevant point. Uh, I must, share this. So during the Shivaratri, you have a lot of the Shivaratri dance melas that happen in Tanjavur, Chidambaram, and now it is happening in lots of places, right? Um, uh, Often, now I'm not judging it, but when it comes to dance performances, and there are a lot of people who on the pretext of, I mean, having these dances in these places, they are squandering a lot of money. So there is a downside to that too. Now, if I want to dance in Chidambaram, it comes with a certain amount of money that I have to shell out. Similarly in Tanjavur, and I've had personal experiences of it. So that is also not a very nice, kind of a parallel system that is working in. And I, it kind of, it's a very difficult scenario because one, you are looking at uh, uh, kind of what's the word, bringing down the whole concept of dancing in a temple and associating it with an X amount of money and saying you pay this, I'll arrange for your program there. That's happening in a lot of temples. And there is also a kind of, there is some understanding between some people who are there in the temple, between some archakas. So we've been hearing those kind of things also happening. So what I'm just trying to draw the attention to here is that because of the fact that art is not thriving in the temple, these are some of the channels that are not so pleasant channels that are also kind of slowly blooming. And with a lot of NRI people coming in and they also want to dance, it's easy to kind of give that money and dance there and find somebody who can arrange it for you. And that also kind of plays a little bit in my mind. So that is happening a lot. Yeah, so one must wait to see how these things will be handled if and when we get to that point.
I think one other thing in the same context, which I think needs to be brought out, but it's a government order that has subsequently been withdrawn, which is this notice to temples over noise pollution. About it's one of the reasons, because it's not just about the notice, but also how it has been framed. Because I wanted to, have this recorded so that people actually know. Because it says, after trying to regulate the volume of azans at mosques, the state government is now going after temples to curb noise pollution. In the latest move, the police have begun sending notices to temples following directions of the Karnataka State Pollution Control Board on violations of noise pollution rules under the Environment Protection Act of 1986 and amended according to the 2010 amended noise pollution control rules. under the Environment Protection Act. So the temples that that have received the notices, our Dodda Ganapati temple in Basangudi. Okay. And then Bull Temple, of course. If Dodda Ganapati gets it, obviously Bull Temple will get a notice as well. So and the Karanji Anjaneya temple also around that place. So this one, and Mallikarjuna Swami temple, and all of these temples, are, I think, if I'm not wrong, controlled by the endowment kind of HRC kind. I think they've come under that. I'm not sure, but I think they are. Now, we have allowed the use of bells and sound system as long as they are within the permitted noise levels, it says. Now, the point being, while I think Jay Sai Deepak again made that point the other day, where he says, if you want to slap somebody else, it's important that you also slap the Hindus a little. Only then you can slap the somebody else. There are 2 points that I had. I mean, I know you did share your thoughts on this. So before you come into it, I'll share a couple of thoughts on this. One is that in the Hindu temples, I do not do it 5 times a day. One, and two, I do not claim that my God is the only God and there is no other who is greater than mine. I don't do it. I don't do both. So I'm saying there is an essential difference between what I do versus you do. And I think the Kanchi Paramacharya was also asked this question: why is this? Why are your temples so noisy? He says, our Bhagavan is our Lord. He's the king. So ஒரு சபாபதி, ஒரு கிங்குக்கு, how will you treat him? Will it be silent like like it's a funeral? No, we will celebrate. We'll beat the drums. We'll blow our nadaswaram. We will do all of these things. That's the only way we know how to do it. I'm also framing it with how the Kanchi Paramacharya. I'm just paraphrasing what he said. He wouldn't, but he's also on record having said, responded to such a question. So.
I mean, I haven't followed this. I just briefly read it, but I didn't pay attention. But personally, right, I'll tell you, when we do walk into say a Tiruvannaikaval or I mean, there is, see, I'm talking about those blaring, horrifying cinema things that
loudspeaker
shops, that is a noise. I mean, and even on the streets, your Ganesha Bhajan Mandali, I'm talking about Karnataka. I mean, I'm talking about Bangalore per se. My parents' house in the heart of the city in Jayanagar, and if it's August, I dread it because the worst of the songs are played with a huge Ganesha in between. I have personally every year, and I will continue to do it. I'll go to the shopkeeper, I'll shout at him, and I'll say, switch off the damn thing. And I'll say, don't play it in the afternoon. And I'll tell him, use these music, don't play this. Why does Ganesha want Choli Ke Piche and things like that?
Right.
So, I mean, I can't comment on the actual stuff, but it's true. Like recently I went to Mannargudi and I had parked the car outside, and when I'm coming in, oh, what songs.
Right. No, absolutely. There's no debate about that. I mean, the kind of songs that are played, and they will even justify it saying, Avarukum Sandoshama kind of thing.
Yeah. Why does Krishna actually need to listen to your pasudams? Let him also listen to cinema.
Yeah, listen to.
Yeah. So,
because I myself have heard, even in Mysore, Bangalore, they'll say, illa sir, paragilla idella idu madbodu, ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಇದಾಗ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೇ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಲ್ಲಿರೋರು ಇದು ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ. That kind of a thing.
So, I mean, that is what. So, I mean, I haven't. I mean, I've been really not paid attention that I've not read about it, so I can't comment. But we could do with less noise. I mean, let's listen to the, what are the.
No, but what they're trying to control right now is even the noise of the bells. If I'm not wrong, I read somewhere. Even that. I think how I don't know. But I don't know. I'm not sure if that is. I'm not sure if that is correct. But I think the whole idea of the when the Aarati happens, I think they also have that drum that is this one, right? And I've seen it in the Dodda Ganapati temple. I've seen it in Bull temple also. They have a
I drum don't know. Does it cause a sound pollution?
It doesn't cause sound pollution.
I don't know.
So that also. So maybe they're I don't know. So that's just wanted to quickly bring that into the. We're talking of freeing Hindu temples. We're also talking about we're also talking about how we need to